Hey Jayaram, this is Umair. Thank you for consenting to be on our podcast show. Today we'll discuss what you guys are doing in your company, what are the technology trends, and how you're taking a look at it, and how you are trying to change those technology trends and taking a piece out of your pie. So let's start by you introducing yourself and tell us a little bit about your company as well.
Thank you, Umair. Thank you for having me on the podcast. I'm the CEO and president of Monetize 360. Monetize 360, we have developed an end-to-end monetization solution, monetization platform. We help make implementation of complex business processes, billing and pricing strategies much faster and easier. Our architecture is a no-code architecture that allows us to deploy these systems in just a couple of weeks instead of years with some of the old legacy systems. As a result, we help companies get to market faster, react to competitive pressures quicker, and increase revenues and market share.
Okay, great. So talk to us a little bit more about your product or service. So you said you are the CEO of Monetize 360, and it's a kind of a billing solution, as I quickly grabbed that. So, what kind of services this product offer?
Sure, we are really an end-to-end monetization solution. Billing is a big part of it, but it's a complete solution. We start with we address the quote to cash process. Today, what has happened is that people are moving from simple subscription month to month, dollars per user per month, to a more nuanced, complex and innovative pricing strategies like
such as usage-based pricing?
Usage-based pricing, consumption-based pricing. Sometimes they have wallets where you refill a wallet with credits, and as you use the credits while you're using your software, those credits decline and then refill at the end of when the wallets become empty.
So that reminds me of old calling cards.
Exactly.
There was a balance. Yeah.
I think they're still there in South Asia and so on. Those prepaid calling cards that you keep using, and then you pay. And what happens is that in the enterprise and software in the SaaS world, this makes reduces the barrier to entry. It makes the customers happier. And there are several large companies who adopted this, like Snowflake and Twilio, and they have reported unexpectedly record revenues because because of the usage-based pricing and billing, their customers continue to use the product. As they use the product, they pay for exactly what they use. Customers are happy. The software vendors are happy. It's a modern changes in pricing. And what happens is existing legacy systems are not designed to handle this. And if you have to force fit an existing legacy system into usage-based pricing, it is like fitting a square peg in a round hole, right? You have to force it. It takes months, sometimes years of expensive consultants. And what we do is to solve that problem. We can do it in weeks where others can take months or years.
So what I'm hearing is that, the world initially used to have this on-prem installations and one-time licensing models, and then eventually SaaS came in and companies started kind of renting out this software as a service. They moved on to annual models now. Then innovative companies come in who are offering you monthly models, and now even we are to the benefit of our end user, we are even fragmented that monthly model to more of a usage-based pricing. Right. So this is what you're doing on the monitor. And you said that your solution is an end-to-end, more of a monetization solution rather than just the billing solution. So what other aspects, and we'll come to the legacy part that you have mentioned, what other monetization kind of stuff that you have in your solution that can help other companies?
Yeah, we start with the central piece of our architecture is a intelligence hub, what we call an intelligence hub. Intelligence hub is a component that takes in data from usage data from production systems and does all the heavy lifting. It is very flexible. It's no code, so you set it up with a configuration user interface, and you don't have to write any code even to implement arbitrarily complex pricing strategies. So it's just selection, setting it up, defining the transformation, if then else rules are all deployed simply with the touch of a button. So the intelligence hub takes data in and converts it into other forms. Now around that, we have an application that helps you create the pricing strategies, the usage, define the product catalog and pricing with the usage-based pricing and other complex pricing strategies. That feeds into the intelligence hub. You can simulate those prices to see what the impact is on revenues and the profitability. It's if you will, a usage-based CPQ. We have the billing, of course, the actual billing system that creates the bill based on inputs from the intelligence hub. We have dashboards and reporting and analytics that helps you analyze. We have a forecasting module that helps you predict based on using machine learning and AI. We can look at the historical pricing and helps you predict the future revenue streams. This is a big challenge with usage-based pricing. We address that as well. And we have a customer portal so the customers look at their own bills themselves.
Great. And what I'm hearing from you is that, on the surface level, it feels that if you convert from a monthly based subscription model to a more usage-based pricing, there will eventually be a drop in revenue. But what we are seeing as a trend that it's the other way around, because people feel, or your end customer feels more liberated. So they are more willing to use your service because they know they will not be charged if they are not using their service. They will be only charged if they'll use that service. So, how do you see, is this a trend? Is there actually a revenue drop? So for instance, I'm just thinking out over here. Netflix, instead of charging me a subscription every month, if they start charging me only for the amount of time I see their videos, their revenue will their revenue drop or will their revenue increase?
Yeah, so often usage-based pricing is introduced as a part of a new product, right? So what happens is that it reduces the barrier to entry. So people can start experimenting it immediately. They don't have to say, hey, I can't pay $30,000 a month because I don't use that much right now, right? I can start with $300 a month. And then as we use, it goes up. When you switch from the subscription to usage-based, right, then you have to manage it carefully. Often what works very well is to have a base price, right? A base price that includes certain level of usage based on what customers are actually using today. And then create a usage-based about that with different tiers, right? So the first 100 units, I'm just using an example, first 100 units are free, next 20 units after that is a price of $10. The next 20 units after that is the price of $7 and so on. So it gives you the ability to manage that pricing. By doing this, you don't necessarily lose revenues, but it helps you gain revenues down the road because people start using it more, right? So
okay, great. And you mentioned that that your product as compared to other legacy products out there, it's a no code, low code, and quickly visible. When you say legacy product, you're talking about the product that is going to use your product for usage-based pricing, or your competitors who are giving this kind of monetization softwares?
So in the pricing and billing space, there are many products there are old products like Oracle and so on that were built for perpetual license, right? On-prem perpetual license. Then there are products that are designed about 10 years ago that became that are designed for subscription. And what happens is that the products, the innovative products of today that can become legacy in 10 years, right? So those products were designed for either on-prem or subscription, don't have the ability to handle complex usage-based pricing. So what you have to do is to create, develop code outside of the product. So to feed just the summary data to the billing system. That creating of that code requires extensive customization, development, and consultants. And that's what happens with legacy systems.
It's essentially a patchwork that you have to do on top of this.
Essentially a patchwork that you have to do. And what happens is that, what happens when you have to change price, right? So I have a friend who was using, whose company was using a large, I won't name names, but a large system, well-known system for billing. And he went to his CFO and said, hey, I want to change pricing. And the CFO said, no, can't do. He said, why not? Because I can't change the price. Because the system is too inflexible. In another company, I know, a very large company, a friend is working there. He was telling me that it takes them 3 months to change pricing because they have to go in and change all this code and change pricing. With our product, it takes 3 minutes, not 3 months, because it's just a click of a button and maybe some time to test it, but that's it. And so I think that's really what is driving you know, the move from legacy systems to modern.
I'm assuming that Monetize 360 itself is on a usage-based pricing, is it?
Absolutely, it is on a usage-based price, and we use we eat our own dog food, so to speak, which is a Silicon Valley saying. It's, you know, we do offer a base price with a certain level of usage, and then charge as you go along.
So Jayaram, I'm really interested in finding out that this must be an involved product to make. And I mean, what's your background? I mean, how did you come about this pain? What actually prompted this thought of creating this, and why this product and not some other product?
Yeah, very good question. It turns out that the company was founded by a friend of mine. His name is Murali Saravu. Murali and I go back a long way. I've known him for 20 plus years, and he's probably the world's most biggest expert in billing and monetization. He has spent the last 25 years in implementing billing systems at companies like HP, Cisco, Intuit, Cable and Wireless, etc. Right? So he has deep knowledge in billing and monetization. He was involved in these projects where it would take millions and years of development to deploy these systems. And he thought there should be a better way, right? He tried to build a better mousetrap. And he worked with 2 or 3 partners, design partners, like Upwork is an example of one of those partners. He worked with them over several years and built this product. He started about 2017 or 18 or so and built this product working with them based on their requirements for usage-based billing. And the result is what the product came out. We already have several reference customers, and you know, we moving forward after that. So,
oh, great. So, and how did you get involved?
Yeah, I have a long history in Silicon Valley. I've been in several startups, been co-founded several startups, have been an investor and a board member. And Murali, as he was growing, he's really a very deep technical guy, and he was looking for somebody to partner with him to be the business, marketing, and sales side of the company. And he asked me to join him about 1.5 years ago. I spent several months looking at the customers, talking to customers, and looking at the market, and realized that this is a this is a breakthrough product with a massive opportunity, and joined him as the CEO about a year or so ago. And we raised a round of funding, and off we go.
Great, great. And how's that? How is the traction coming along? I mean, what are your customers? I mean, how it's going?
Oh, it's going really, really well. We have, as I mentioned, we have several customers already. Production in the product is in production use with several customers already, several very large customers. We are in the process of about to launch a project with one of the largest financial institutions in the world. For example, they had some very complex pricing requirements, and they spent a year and a half looking at every other product in the industry, and they came to a decision that our product best fit their needs, and we are about to start that project. I can't yet say who they are, but we'll probably be able to say just in a few months. This complex project we're going to be able to deploy in just about 3 or 4 months, as opposed to 2 or 3 years with other tools.
So, I mean, you mentioned several times that your product is very easy to deploy and use. So, I mean, is it your product? I mean, is it a software that you give, or like more like an SDK that you give to someone, or is it itself cloud-based that they use certain APIs to integrate with them? How it works?
Yeah. So, very good question. It is a product. It's cloud-based. It can be deployed. We can deploy it for you in our AWS instance. And many of these large customers have their own cloud, private cloud, and we can deliver the product as a virtual a Docker container, right, and deploy it in your system. And then the product, especially the Intelligence Hub, it's designed where it's very flexible. It can handle many different types of inputs and many different types of billing strategies. It's designed for those kinds of things. So you simply select, right, which input, what transformation. You select the rules. You define the rules by pointing and clicking and selecting. Most of the time is being spent in defining the inputs and outputs and requirements with the customer. What are the different systems you need to integrate? What are the input data details? What are the rating tables or the pricing rules that you have to implement? Once we know all that, it's simply a matter of clicking and setting it up. Today, the first few customers, we are doing it for them as a part of an implementation. Like I said, it can take just a few weeks. And most of that time is in defining the requirements. I think in the future, it can be done by the end users themselves. So
the self-service, self-configured platform.
Self-configured. So yeah, it's designed for large implementations, designed for enterprise level scalability.
Yeah, that was my next question. That what is the right size customer for you? Is it a startup, or is it an enterprise, or a mid-sized business? What could be an ideal customer for you? And I mean, if I am a customer, what size should I be where your product is an ideal fit for me?
I think that, first of all, anyone can use the system. We are actually talking to several IoT kind of companies, by the way, because IoT products can have a unique requirement, often usage-based, and it turns out that it's a huge market in itself, but it's in the early stages. But I think in terms of what people the ideal customer, if you will, are the larger companies, because often what happens is that smaller companies decide that they can do the billing manually with the spreadsheet. They don't want to spend the money to deploy a system like ours, although you could start early, but in most cases it's the medium to large size companies that probably benefit the most with our system.
Sure. And you see this trend has already taken its root, it's growing, and probably what do you foresee next after usage-based pricing? I mean, there's always something next once there's a trend out there.
Well, usage-based pricing is just the tip of the iceberg. There are many different usage-based pricing models, right? So it could be purely usage-based, a fixed usage-based. It could be tiered usage-based. It could be wallet-based, where you buy a set of credits, let's say 10,000 units, and everybody uses those credits. As those credits use up, like the old cell phone cards, right? So
I mean, we've all been using usage-based. I mean, we all do usage-based pricing. Your electricity bill, your gas bill, everything,
right,
your petrol. It's all usage-based pricing.
exactly.
It's just that
It is around. It's new. It's new for the enterprise, right? So
it's new for the enterprise. It's probably new for the software.
Also, many old companies like banks are still using mainframe systems with COBOL programs running their billing systems, and they're starting to look at modernizing it. And of course, those financial institutions are all usage-based, right? So it's based on number of checks, number of your ACHs, number of your money transfers. There's a fee for every one of those. You may have negotiated pricing individually for each customer. So it becomes a very complex set of pricing rules that you have to implement. And when they look around for implementing a system to modernize their billing from mainframes, existing systems simply can't handle it. And that's why they end up coming to us.
Great. So Jayaram, wonderful talking to you, getting to know yourself, your product. We wish you very best of luck for your company. I think you're definitely in a market or in a trend which is upcoming. Everyone is looking for a usage-based pricing, and all the best wishes for you. And we'll connect again sometime later to see how the company is progressing.
Thank you very much, Umair. It's wonderful to talk to you. Thank you very much for talking to us today. I really enjoyed the conversation and had great questions.